What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one, the only Ash Said It. AshSaidIt.com, AshSaidIt.com. Welcome to the Ash Said It Daily Podcast Show. I appreciate you guys so very much. Over 1,500 episodes and 500,000 streams worldwide. None of this would be possible without you guys, so I thank you so very much. And yes, we're still dealing with pandemic life, you know. If you're in some of those states that are unfortunately having a rise in COVID numbers, definitely stay safe, people. All right, wear your mask, be safe, think about other people. All right, putting that energy out there for you. And so today we are so blessed and so thankful to have with us nationally renowned psychic medium, mindfulness expert, and intuitive business consultant, the wonderfully talented Dallisa Hocking. Hello, Dallisa.
Hello, Ash. Thanks so much for having me on your show.
Thank you so much for making time for us. So, Dallisa, what part of the country are you at right now?
I am based in the fabulous city of Las Vegas. I'm sure a lot of your listeners have been here before or dream about coming here.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. So, it's funny you say that because last year this time I was actually stationed in Vegas. That's insane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was stationed.
It's a wild and crazy place.
It is something else. I wonder if it really rivals New York and one of the cities that never sleep, because Vegas seems to always be on.
It's always on, and I find that the city is really interesting in the way that, there's obviously very seedy parts or things within the city that are a little bit rough around the edges at times because of just how it's a collective place of different gambling or things that people would never do that they would do here in Las Vegas, they'd never do at home. So we have that side of it, right?
Yeah.
Like that kind of like denser, energetic part of Las Vegas, but then we have like really beautiful Red Rock and, the dam and the river. And so we have this like interesting light and dark yin yang within the city. And most people that come here never really realize that there's a lot of really beautiful light places as well around Las Vegas.
Yeah, definitely it is. So starting things off, when did you discover your psychic abilities?
It's a really great question. This is not what I thought I was going to be doing for a living. I was very intuitive as a kid. I'd feel energy around me of people that had passed away, but my grandmother would see full-on apparitions that would walk through her living room, and she could tell you, what they were wearing and very detailed descriptions. And as a kid, I'd sit with her in her living room, and I would be, half curious and half terrified to ask her, what happened last night? Who did you see walk through the living room? And it wasn't until 5 years ago when she was making her transition to the other side that my gift came in, and it really happened overnight. I was living in Texas at the time, and I owned a matchmaking and dating events company. And I was working for a private business school in Texas.
Right.
And minding my own business, quite literally. And I went up to New York to attend a workshop on synchronicity, which is the belief that there are no accidents. And I went up to New York, and I was there for a 3-day workshop. And all of these really interesting synchronicities happened on the trip. And in summary, the last night of the trip, I stayed with a friend of mine who just so happened to have a house in the middle of the forest next to this retreat center.
Oh, wow.
And he gets a phone call the last night of the trip while I'm there, and his beloved aunt had died unexpectedly. She had fallen down a flight of stairs. Oh. And, I give my friend, the condolences for his aunt, and I go off to the guest bedroom to go to sleep, and I don't really think much more of it. I didn't know her. There was no, attachment to her whatsoever.
Right.
Never saw a picture or anything. And that night while I was sleeping, she decided to come through to me and let me know that she made it to the other side and that she was okay, and she asked if I could pass that message along to her nephew. So the next morning I woke up and was shocked and amazed, but shared that message with my friend. Flew back to Texas that day, realizing that my life had completely changed. And so I started testing it. And I started channeling for people and sharing, messages of inspiration and hope and clarity with individuals. And then it just started growing and growing. And so now, 5 years later, I own and operate a company that is nationwide, that has all kinds of psychics and mediums and energy practitioners. And so I think this was all divinely orchestrated. I just didn't know that I was going to be the one doing the same things my grandmother had talked so much about growing up. So that's how I ended up in the position that I'm in.
That's incredible. Wow. So literally, like, your life was literally just turned inside out, upside down, and you just had to, make it work. Make it work. Wow.
Overnight. Yeah. I mean, you hear of, like, these overnight successes, and I always laugh. Because they're like, I've been working at it for years. You just noticed me today, right? Wow. And so for me, it was like, his Aunt Barbara literally showed up and changed everything about my life.
So after that, when did the idea for Spirit and Spark come to be?
Yeah, so Spirit and Spark was also born while I was living in Texas. Texas was like my 3-year departure from Las Vegas. I've lived in Las Vegas twice. So when I was in Texas running my dating and matchmaking company and working for the business school, I was literally at night doing phone sessions. I only did phone readings at that point. And I don't have to see anybody face-to-face. I don't have to be in the same room. You could quite literally send me a question via email, and I would be able to tap in and get the answers. And it's why these days I will mail a 3-card reading to people across the United States. I don't have to be in the same room, and that makes it a lot of fun. So it was born in Texas through phone readings, and then I decided that the universe was nudging me so much to do this job that I moved back to Las Vegas, where I had family, because I thought, if I'm going to do this as my full-time career, being a psychic medium, then if I fail miserably, then I need family around. So I have, a roof over my head. I'll have a hot meal. And so I moved back to Las Vegas and started formally working full-time as a psychic medium. And then I opened a physical storefront location in 2018. And then during COVID, actually transitioned it once again into the national company that it is now. So it's definitely gone through some transformations itself. But we all go through transformations and changes. Yeah. So it makes it fun and exciting. You never know what's going to be around the corner sometimes.
Absolutely. So Dallisa, now, we're getting into the holiday season. It can bring a lot of joy to people's lives, but also it can bring a lot of sadness. There are a lot of people that are hurting for any number of reasons, but on top of everything, we're still dealing with COVID. What advice or what possible techniques would you suggest that everyone, including myself, can utilize in order to kind of just remaining calm, cool, and collected through these crazy times that we're dealing with?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I don't want to take anything away from COVID. It's brought a lot of pain. It's brought challenges to people, individuals, families, couples. It's been a tough year.
Yeah.
But COVID also brought with it a lot of blessings.
Yeah.
And some people hear that and they go, how dare you say something like that? But if you really stop and think about it for a minute, it forced you to go inward.
Yeah.
It forced you to really take a look at yourself, your life, the people around you, what's working, what's not working. It gave you pause. And so many of us go, 60 miles an hour, 0 to 60 all the time, and we don't really take pause to reflect or ask ourselves, who are we? What do we want? Where are we going?
Yeah.
COVID did that.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of inner work that was done this year. And for people that are still, stuck in maybe negative thinking or doom and gloom, I want to remind them, you always get to pick, you always get to choose what you're going to focus on. There's power in the choice of thought. It's just as easy to pick a happy thought than it is to pick a sad or an angry thought. And sometimes you have to set, maybe a timer on your phone for 10 minutes and grab a piece of paper and a pen for 10 minutes. Write down everything that worked for you this year. Everything. Because once we actually take the time to sit and reflect, we will notice there were many blessings that came forward this year. But sometimes we just get stuck on that one thing that has derailed. And that takes a lot of our focus and our energy when it really doesn't have to. There's always a silver lining. There's always something to be grateful for. And so, whether you do it in the morning or you do it at night, think of at least one thing. If you can think of 3 things, that's great. But pick 1 to 3 things that really worked for you today. And, on the really, really hard days, you might say, forget it. There's nothing from today. And my challenge to you is find it, because there will always be something that you can anchor into and remember from the day. It could be a stranger that smiled at you on the street. And it could be, a text message you got from somebody you haven't heard from in a while, but there's always something, a hot meal, a roof over your head. You can always find something, but I agree with you. There's going to be days that it will be easier to do that and days that'll be harder.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you there's always something.
Absolutely. Dallisa, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Ash.
Yeah, let everyone know if they want to get in contact with you, website, social media.
Absolutely. SpiritandSpark.com, all spelled out is the website, and Instagram and Facebook at Spirit and Spark.
I love it. Much more success, Dallisa, to you and your whole team and everyone that is helping with, of course, the cause. Makes a huge difference. Definitely appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for your love and support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do. You look them square in the face, you tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.